I'm driving.
So today I'm taking a little shakedown trip out west of San Antonio. Starting out, heading out west on 90, which is flat, kind of coastal plain-ish, but very soon we're going to be climbing into the hill country. So starting off flat, but then we're going to get into some hills, some windy, twisty roads, hopefully, some dirt. Looking forward to it. This is just a one-day out and back. I've taken the truck on a few trips to the beach last summer, but this is really going to be its first time going on gravel and dirt, hopefully through some creek crossings and stuff. So I'm looking forward to it.
My original plan was to head west from San Antonio to Uvalde, then swing north to pick up the fourth leg of the Traverse Texas Trail that I discovered with OnX maps. I wanted to catch the middle portion of this trail, head up toward Junction, then back to San Antonio on I-10. I'd planned on about 5 hours, 2 to get there, 1 to 2 hours on the dirt roads, then another hour and a half to get back to San Antonio. But as you'll soon see, when you're overlanding, you have to prepare for changes in your plans.
So, just driving through and happened to look over to the right side. It's super windy. And I saw this engine, this motor sitting right next to the road. And on the front of it is the MM emblem for Minneapolis Moline. My dad and his brothers have been restoring Minneapolis Moline tractors for a while. The tractors that they drove as kids, and my dad and I actually came out here a couple of years ago looking specifically for a Minneapolis Moline motor that had been used for irrigation. I don't think this is it, but I'm going to take a picture of it and send it to him anyway.
I would later come to find out that Minneapolis Moline engine had been sitting in that same spot for decades. There is a well next to it, and the engine was indeed used for irrigation when the spot where the Walmart now sits was a farmer's field. The Texas Hill Country lies just to the north of US 90. As you drive west through the small towns and pastures full of cattle, you can see the hills off in the distance. Reaching Uvalde and heading north, the hills grew larger, and at last I found myself surrounded by high limestone hills and bluffs as I drove through the Nueces River Valley. Watching the map as I drove, I noticed a county road just off my route that looked like it went right through the Nueces River. Itching to get my wheels wet, I decided to give it a shot.
So this is the Nueces River upstream from Uvalde, Texas, and I took a little shortcut, a turn off the road because I saw it was a county road. So many of the roads around here are private, and it's hard to tell sometimes. Sometimes even the county roads have gates across them. So this one I was kind of surprised it was open. The sign back there said don't drive in the river. I'm gonna try it. Let's get across there and see. That county road continues back there. It looks like there's a sign across there that might say it's private, so as soon as we get across, we'll find out. Of course, as soon as I get across the river. Private drive, no trespassing. Guess we're going back across.
finally picked up the trail just outside of Barksdale, but was still on pavement, much to my disappointment. But the road became more windy, and the scenery just kept getting better as I twisted and turned through a valley of a creek. Then I saw a sign that made me really happy. Pavement ends, and off into the gravel I went.
Very disappointing. I don't know why this road is closed, but I can't get through. And the track that I'm following clearly says that it's open. Not open. So I'm gonna try to find another way onto it. Found another road that looked like it went through. This is called Brushy Road, and you can tell it's a little bumpy, a little gravelly. But rule of thumb is, you know, when you hit a gate, you don't go past the gate, even if it's open, because if there's a gate, that means that's somebody's private property. It's real hard to tell. I turned down this road. There was no gate at the front end of the road. There was a stop sign, so it tells me it's kind of somewhat maintained. Got about a mile or so in, and there was a gate. It was open, went right through it, but turned around after I got to it, right after I got there, and headed back the way I came. So now I'm still backtracking, trying to find a way back to that trail that's supposed to be open, but I think I'm going to end up having to go on state highways the rest of the way.
Gates are a tricky thing. With so much of the land in Texas being privately owned, it's hard to tell sometimes what is open to the public and what is private. The no trespassing sign on the fence by the bump gate spooked me, and without a cell signal or access to check the private land overlay on Gaia GPS, I didn't know that the road was actually open all the way through. Brushy Road, on the other hand, is not sectioned out on Gaia GPS, and I was likely trespassing the entire time without knowing it. As you'll see later, the only place where there were gates on the road I was trying to take were at the property lines for this single piece of property. Without knowing that ahead of time, though, the best bet was to be cautious and not risk trespassing. I ended up almost back where I first picked up the trail outside of Barksdale, turned to the north on paved roads in an attempt to come at that same road from the other direction to see how far I could get. I really wanted to get on that dirt. The funny thing about traveling, though, and having to change plans, is that sometimes the road you didn't intend to take ends up being even better than your original plans. Keep an open mind, and the road ahead may surprise you. I ended up driving 50 miles around to get to the last 13 miles of the road I'd originally planned to take. The drive was gorgeous, though, and one I'd like to do again.
So this is the other side of the ranch road that I got stopped at with a gate. I'm gonna see how far I can go on this side of it. Not that far from where that gate was. You're not much for taking chances, but you've taken a chance on me.
Once I finally got back on dirt, it was everything I'd hoped for. Driving through washes, sharp turns, magnificent scenery, and not another vehicle in sight. And there's the other gate. I don't know how many Miles in I came, but there it is. Can't get through. My last 13 miles turned into 26 as I ran into another gate and had to turn around again. I was prepared for this though, and while I suspected at the time both gates were on the same property, it wasn't until I looked back at my track from the day that I realized I had less than a mile between the 2 points I'd had to turn around. The day made for a great adventure and a great learning experience. I found some places I'd like to visit again and go camping and kayaking once the weather warms up. I look forward to getting out on the less traveled roads again soon.